Thank you very much for coming. Thank you also for your interest in this very important topic about women. I think that we shall talk about business women, entrepreneurs, their right to be equal with men, to express their opinion, to work and sustain their families and children, to share knowledge, skills and experiences, both with men and women, and with communities, bringing progress and innovation. Women learn how to succeed in maintaining professional life with their home responsibilities, to raise their children, look after elderly members of the family, keep up with domestic duties, and to pursue what all humans need, to be happy, loved, and satisfied with their lives. It sounds too much for one person, but every average, healthy, and stable woman achieves that, which makes her a superwoman, Wonder Woman. And not in comics, it's in real life. And this is an ambition which inspires women to explore their business ideas and to turn them into successful projects. Women entrepreneurs make big part of all societies, where they can corporate, making or creating products, or realize their ideas and use digital technology to reach out or to use it as a tool in their business procreation. Today we shall meet some of these successful business women, and they are thinkers and doers who bravely entered the men's world and fought hard for their place in society. They will tell you how they achieved their dreams, and you can ask them very many questions. And the only man on the panel is from media. Milan Dinic is from YouGov, an international internet-based market research company, which has headquarters here in the UK, but it works worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has no connection with the UK government, although the name suggests.
Possibly. No, don't worry, we're completely private. You got the elections right this time, by the way.
So you will have lots of things to tell them. I would like to ask Rosalie to say a few words also, and that we start with Sophie's presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, like so many other things in contemporary life, media is a business. It needs to make money. We have to understand the motives of journalists. They want a good story, and sensationalism sells. As seen in recent stories, the media uses politicians, and politicians use the media. Princess Diana used the media, and one could argue still does. Journalists can build you up, and they can crush you down. Oscar Wilde said, in the olden days we had the rack, today we have the press. People often feel they are being judged differently for doing the same things, but experiences based on gender identity or ethnicity are frequently dismissed. How are scholars, researchers, and media worldwide holding governments to account for the local and international women, peace, economic and security commitments? Identical leadership films featuring different protagonists and cutting-edge interviews and methodologies involving first-person videos provided deep insights into how people perceive others and how they judge others on personality and gender scales. The issue of gender should be a central concern in the work of the state, and there should be privileged actions and policies for the economic empowerment of women.
Madam Chairman, thank you so very much, and what a really nice introduction there. I'm not going to thank anybody else because we won't be able to say anything, and I know we're very short with how much time we have. About 5 years ago, I had a change in life. and I felt I had to do something to keep my mind occupied. I felt I had to keep myself busy as well as my mind, and I felt that there was a niche in the market which may not sound very much, but in many ways we need it. So I started giving 1 or 2 lessons about tea etiquette and how one should behave and how one should, sort of eat your scones and how not to start eating, your finger sandwiches with knives and forks. But from that, I met this really charming young man who's known me for many years, called Grant Harold. He was the butler for Prince of Wales, and the reason why he stopped doing that is because the 2 young princes decided to get older and grow up, and one of them got married, so they no longer live at Highgrove anymore. So we set something up called the Royal Butler School and the Royal Etiquette. With that, we work at Blenheim Palace. That's a nice one. We teach etiquette. We bespoke it to what you want. So, for example, if you are, as it's Ascot next week, we will teach you how one should behave and how one should not dress. And I say not dress because there are too many people who like to come and wear mini skirts and low tops, and then they end up being totally not nice to look at when you go into a thing. From that, we teach how to behave at Ascot. We teach them how to behave when you go to royal functions or even other functions.
I'm just going to talk about how I started the business, so that women will know how sometimes it is difficult and how one must persevere in able to start a business. I started Standard Nursing Agency in September 1988 on a part-time basis. At the time, I was a nurse manager for the Paddington and North Kensington Health Authority, and I was responsible for the management of the whole of the daycare district nursing services as well as the twilight service. And the business that I set up at the time was to recruit and supply temporary nursing and healthcare assistance to the NHS and the private sector. Now, as I had no knowledge of how to set up a business at the time, I went to the Brent, where I live, Business Advisory Center, to seek for advice. Now, I met a business advisor there who was male, and at the center, I explained to him my plans of setting up a nursing agency. He immediately advised me against it and said the competition was too great. He informed me there were big agencies doing it, like the likes of Reed, British Nursing Association, LPNS, which was the London Provincial Nursing Agency, which was the government's own agency at the time, working within the NHS. So he said, somebody small like you, there's no way can you be able to compete with these people. So it would be a waste of time. He offered me no help. So I went away. I was then the nurse manager, and I knew how difficult it was to get agency staff from big agencies. I was managing the whole of the district for nursing. And I thought, but I could run this small business. Why is he telling me I can't? So in my own mind, I thought I would be able to do it. So I carried on with my normal work, because I was still working as a nurse manager. And at the end of 2 months, I decided to go back to the business centre. At the time, the NHS was changing, and this was the time that Mrs. Thatcher has won 3 elections, and she was looking very carefully at the NHS, what to do with it. And at the time, he thought he would bring general managers into the NHS. I don't know whether you are familiar. I mean, maybe you will be with the Griffiths report, where he brought Griffiths to run the NHS. And I was a nurse manager, and I thought, very soon they are going to remove us, because they wanted general managers. At the time, doctors and nurses, we were running, so we ran the nursing services. We were district nursing officers, regional nursing officers, and we have the medical officers, and we were running the NHS. But government didn't want that because he thought we were poor managers. and he wanted general managers into the NHS. So I thought very soon I was going to be made redundant. And I thought I needed to do something, and I needed to do it. So 2 months after, I went to the Business Advisory Centre. And this time I met a business advisor who was a lady. I haven't forgotten her name. She was called Miss Wendy Campbell. And she was running the business centre. So I informed her of my plans. And immediately she asked me my background. And she thought, oh, you'll be able to do it because you've got a background to it. So what is the difficulty? So she immediately said that I needed a business plan because I went with nothing. He said, you can't run a business without a business plan. So he explained to me how to run a business plan.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, if I may say that I want to just acknowledge the tragedy, what was happening last days. I want to say that it's deeply in my heart because I'm working in a school and I see how people are affected by that. And I love London because of that, because we all were united, we all sent the messages, we all collected the donations and we blinked there. So thank you so much for UK, for London, and for all people who made me feel like that. So that is the beginning. And second, I want to thank Rosalie and I want to thank Vesna. How? Vesna is an amazing person because she sees not a spouse of ambassador. She sees the lady who wants to be here on that side. And it's the same with the Rosalie. She is running the Women in Diplomatic Service club. I'm not in diplomatic service, I'm a spouse. But she sees that I can be there with the diplomats, and she invited me. And that is what we are, what is empowerment. And that is what we need to do, each of us, when we see some people around us who need that empowerment. We need to empower these people. And we know that in the media, it's a lot of things which are going on. We know all the celebrities. All of us know who is Kim Kardashian, for example. But why? It's because of the media. But do you know our lunchtime supervisors? No. Do we know the people who serve us in some social care at shops, doctors? No, we don't know, because we are not empowering them. We just say thank you, okay, but that's not enough. Because of the media, we can use it like a very important tool. Because if we all have our social networks, for example, if we will empower, if we will share information about the people who deserve that, we will have better world. Because these people, they need to be recognized. If they will be recognized, they will give it back. So that is about the empowerment.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Vesna, thank you for including me in this incredible panel, and Madam Chairman, thanks for this kind introduction. So I do have a couple of slides. So I don't know if somebody's going to help me with finding my slides, but while we're doing that, I will change a little bit within the time I'm given, just to give you background about myself. Madam Chairman has introduced me a little bit, but I think it's important for you to understand how did I get to where I am, because it wasn't quite an accident. So I'm a mining engineer, and in a very much man's world, and that's really, I suppose that's why I speak loud, because I had to speak loud, I had to make myself known, and I had to fight with all these men. Until recently, it was really man's world. I would be often in a room where the things would be reversed, where I would be the only woman in a room like this full of men. That also brought me to be self-confident, maybe not, maybe it's just appearance, but I certainly speak loudly, and to stand for myself. Over the years, and I've been in the business for about 25 years, things have changed, and I'm very pleased to say we have a very strong, in the UK in particular, women in mining practice. So there's a lot of mining engineers, geologists, and all the supporting industries. So it's not such a rarity, but say 25 years ago it was a rarity. So how do you start your own business? How do you actually move from cushioned or less cushioned environment of the institution? I was in the city for 20 years. I was held various jobs as a mining analyst, equity analyst, financier, investment banker, fund manager. And how do you move from there and you start and you just go on your own and you found a company and you sort of tackle the road yourself? So Micro Minerals is one of the companies I founded. I'm not the only one any longer, but I was the only one at the very beginning.
And it happened really, well, before I move out, it happened, I had a luxury, and I have to say this was really true luxury, to take some time out. And I was at the point in my life when you want to do something with more passion, you want to do something where you really are not just working for the money and to pay the bills at the end of the month, but you want to put yourself truly into that business. And in parallel, actually, my husband was suffering from cancer, which is fine, so it's all fine. And even more so, then become aware of the shortness of the life and how valuable is every day and a minute that we are given. So I said, okay, fine, finished, stop, done. I just don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something that will make a change, will bring the difference, make the money, because we still need to live and we want luxury and all other things. And how can I combine these two things together? So I have this, and I have to apologize to Princess Katerina. This is really nothing to do with the Princess Margaret. Really, this slide, actually, this picture. A while ago, I was presenting to an investor, and he said to me, "So what is all this about?" And we were in Claridge's having a tea, and it just happened that we were seated under this photograph. And I said, "Well, you know what? I'm actually bringing that world with this world. I just want to bring this together in a way that they come together, but we still have these beautiful ladies. I mean, I absolutely adore jewelry. I mean, I don't have anything real today because I don't want to go on the tube, but I love it. And I love to see the pretty ladies with these incredible jewels. And I believe that the earth, all the jewelry, all the gemstones are there to be taken out and to be made into beautiful pieces. So this is not about we're not NGO, we're not here to do some social justice, which partly we are, but in a different way. We just want to bring these two worlds together so that we don't have, this is by the way Nigeria, the ladies in Nigeria, we don't have such a harsh conditions and this extreme. And as I say again, to make money and distribute it in a more even and equal way. So that's really was how I started. I said, well, that's what I would like to do. I would like to combine something I know, which is my profession, mining engineering. I do like the segment of the mining, which is diamonds and gemstones and precious stones and metals, which is, again, as a woman, you may sort of be familiar with that or resonate. But also I wanted to make this change that it just filters down to the real ground where all this starts from. And the gemstone segment of the, so this is basically just a little bit about us. So, as I said, we are right now moving into a private, we are a Canadian company going public. That's why we had to move from London to Canada. Not that we had to, but we chose to list on the TSX rather than LSE. And it really came out of my own passion for the beauty of the earth and the social quality, so, which I hope I'm sharing with you a little bit. So, the way what we do, it's very simple. We are actually partnering with the small-scale miners. And the gemstone segment of the mining industry is ideal for this because the gemstone, that's why they're so rare, you don't mine them as you would mine coal or iron ore, or we have a lady from Sierra Leone, which are really big, massive operation with the huge trucks and the huge machinery. Gemstones, they come as geology, the nature is giving them in a very small pocket. So it has to be a small mine. So it is a cottage industry, it has been a cottage industry for a long time. And that's why what we are doing is actually quite applicable because we are bringing the capital, the knowledge, so that we can improve the operations. In fact, I have a little bit of about the business model. That's one of my partners, by the way, and it all is linked. It continues to have a female thread. A while ago, again, I was with a different job, and I was on a trip to Tanzania, where I met the Women Miners Association of Tanzania, and that was back in 2006 or 7. And these ladies, I mean, it's such a true inspiration to what you're saying. I mean, I would say it's almost easy to be inspiration in London or Paris or New York when everything is given to you and you just have to be bold enough to put it together and go out. But to actually do these things in the places like Tanzania or Sierra Leone or Nigeria, that's totally different, scenario. So anyway, so these ladies, they're so brave. They get their small plots and they create small mines. In fact, they even employ some men, as you can see. So they, they approached. We stayed in touch. I was on their fair, on their show, and they kept sending me their samples. They said, "Oh, could you sell this for us? Could you, we made some jewelry. Could you do this something for us?" And I was really, it just didn't even come to me. I was busy in the city, with a different world. I just thought, well, what is all that about?
I've just got a minute left, please.
So I will, in very short, finish. So, but then during that year, last year, I just said, well, actually, there could be something there. So I literally bought a ticket to Dar es Salaam, and I went back to a few of them, and I said, okay, let's see how we can create a business here. And it started from there. We now have a joint venture partnerships with 3 mines. Basically, we are bringing the knowledge, engineering, the understanding of the geology. They mine intuitively, which actually they're doing quite a job even with the intuition, but it can be done in a much more efficient way, where also the safety issues, the working environment, everything is done as you would be an international mining company. So another thing which is also very important, we have that in diamonds, which some of you may know, but what we're doing, and as the market is coming back to the media sort of pressure, the millennials, and we're living at a changing times, and people do want to know where things are coming from. So we've been through the fair trade bananas and the sugar and everything, and the gemstones are very much next in the line. So what we're doing, we're also certifying the gemstones, and we could prove that they're coming from legitimate sources, they're the people who are mining, they're treated properly, and it's a gemstone with a story to tell, as I like to say. So that's me. I won't go any further into my details. And just, as a final kind of what maybe you should take home, and I love this quote from Sir Richard Branson, who we all know, but really, if you are about to start something, I encourage you to, if you can afford, to take time and really look into your heart and make sure that whatever you're doing, it's really something that will move your heart, because it's going to get tough. It's not an easy road. There's always balance between time and money. You either don't have time or you don't have enough money, or there's always issue of that. You will doubt if that's something that's really you're doing to do, or will you be successful. You have to have a lot of faith that things will work out, that you're good, that people will tell you all kind of things, out of jealousy, out of all sorts of reasons. You just have to be really self-confident, and you have to surround yourself with the right people. That's something that I cannot emphasize how important is that you have a right team, that you inspire them and they inspire you. So that's it. That's for me.
Thank you, Vesna. I'm very delighted to be speaking to you now on a topic I'm very passionate about: women. I know there are men here.
There wouldn't be women without men.
And I just want to thank the Parliamentary Outreach and Engagement team for making this happen here as well. Who am I? I come with many hats. I'm a mother, I'm a woman. I am a lawyer, I'm a publisher, I'm an editor. I'm many, many things. Why am I saying this? How many brands do you know that you admire? Can you tell me some very well-known brand that you know and you admire? Virgin. Any other?
Tom Shoes.
Yes. Any? Come on. John Lewis. Okay, so there are many, many brands that we know. Like I said, I come with many hats, and I know everyone has one thing or the other that you come with. So those are your assets. You are your own brand. If you don't sell you, nobody else will. I think that's how Nigeria Magazine came about. Came about as a result of some negative views about Nigeria. My husband happens to be a very critical armchair critic. And I told him that you are very passionate about your country. However, what I hear is not positive. You want something good out of it, but what are you doing to make it, you know, to sell the story of what you are passionate about. That's how Nigeria Magazine came about. And Nigeria Magazine has unraveled a lot of things since we started. It started in 2010. With the focus that be positive about things, be positive about the country, the people, his cuisine, the languages, women, men, everything that the country represents. And you find out that the more positive things are much more than the negatives. And that's how the journey we came through. And my husband will tell you now that, oh, nothing will change in the country, not in the next 100 years. But he's singing a different tune now. And at the time we started, people were thinking, we're mad. Are you government agents? No, we were not. We were passionate about something that belonged to us. And we felt that we needed to say that. It's not only Nigeria I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about London. I'm passionate about the UK. Like I said, I come with many hats. I'm a Londoner. I am a UK citizen. I'm a citizen of the world. And the way I see it is that there are many brands. And where there are negatives or where there are risks, there are opportunities. We are talking about so many things happening now. Ladies, men, with what we are seeing, there are opportunities. So what I will leave you here with is that is the way you respond to challenges. Respond properly. So I will give you some very positive C words. I will say, be clear about what you are doing. Use your capability. Connect. It's a very good forum to connect here. And there are many, many others. Collaborate. Collaboration is key. One thing I realized was that Nigerians are a powerhouse themselves, individually. However, synergetically, there's a problem. I saw a gap there. What I do now, I try and enable groups. Not just, oh, I'm doing Nigeria Magazine or whatever. I bring people together. Because I believe that when you collaborate and you connect, the outcome is much more larger than yourself.
Hello everyone. It's a great honor and a great pleasure to be here today, so thank you very much for inviting me. It's always a big challenge being the last speaker. Bear in mind the topic today, and so the passion of the people here. I wonder would it have been a greater challenge to speak first or last? So I think either ways. So just briefly to tell you something about myself, because that will relate to what I'll be talking about. I'm a journalist by vocation. I worked for national media in Serbia and in the Balkans for 8 years, and I also cooperated with The Guardian for a couple of years with the Balkans. Since coming to the UK, I've continued working with The Guardian and other media occasionally, but also my key vocation is now data. Data is everything, and data is very important. So that's what I do in UGA. I work on data journalism projects. So if you allow me, I would like to point out, start from data, because I think what I'm about to say will help sum up what speakers today have pointed out. So I will start with some recent relevant data UNICEF has come up with on the question of women and the challenges women are facing. I did not prepare a presentation, I'm sorry about that, because knowing I'll be the last speaker and I had limited time, so I thought it was best to go like this. So I'll just point out some very key data very recently. First of all, on Women's Day in March this year, YouGov published a poll about women's issues. We asked women in the UK, both women and men, what do you consider women's issues to be? And I'll read out the key findings. So according to women, 22% say women issues are issues that just affect women. 20%, this is the second highest, say they don't know what this phrase means. 15% said periods, tampons, and other women's issues. And 13% said equality, inequality. And fifth, 13%, just under 30% said equal pay. Now according to men, 25% say that they don't know what this phrase means, women issues. 21% say those are issues that affect just women. 17% say periods, tampons, and 9% say health. Now, the biggest discrepancy here, if you compare men and women in the UK, in the answers, is that just 4% of men said equal pay, which is 9% less than women. So obviously there's a clear difference in perception of that issue. Also, what is, I believe, concerning is that nearly a fifth of women said that they don't know what women issues consist of.
Olivia Markovic, I'm representing a partner of several organisations, but Hamilton Fulham Language Services, an interpreting and translation agency. And this particular work is full of women, professionals, and is very underrated and not at all acknowledged in the UK. And we've been struggling to raise the value of the profession, the visibility of the profession, ever since I was first interpreter and then worked for the agencies. So it's still an uphill struggle. So that's quite apart from my point. And my point was generational perspective, because I'm also a mother to a 23-year-old girl. And I will tell you for a fact that the generational perspective of young, educated women in the UK today is something that nobody in this room would really understand. And you would struggle to find a point of agreement, because it is so far away from what is perceived as, first of all, the role of a woman, secondly, using the existing male structures to ascend to positions of power and authority. And they're very, very dogmatic, and they're very firm in their views. And whether they'll mellow with time, I don't know. But frankly, the ultimate, children, young women, are being told to read A Handmaid's Tale at school. That is part of their education. And we have some feisty young women coming up, and I just hope that you'll be able to guide them.
Well, I can tell you from having students in that age group, also I am a mother of 4 myself, I don't necessarily agree with you 100%. Yes, there is a different perception. And unfortunately, and I hate to admit this, that sometimes the schools, especially the girls' schools, my daughter went to a girls' school, reinforce this issue. But she also has 3 brothers, and she realised what reality is all about. So it is not, it is good, it is absolutely correct that we need role models. But when they're out in the world, they're mixing men and women, and they realise for themselves, and you hope that your preparation for life has been one where they can open their eyes to reality. And realise that aggression, because there's a lot of aggression in this, it doesn't get them anywhere. There is a misconception that assertion is aggression, and it's one thing I'm always telling my students: being assertive is not being aggressive. Aggressive is not going to get you anywhere. And some mothers have to be mothers and fathers at the same time. And that, again, especially with daughters, is a very hard task, because they don't necessarily see and appreciate the balance of parenthood.
Until they become parents themselves.
Until they're parents themselves, precisely. Yes. And that changes dramatically. But thank you very much for that point. It's very valid.
I want to thank you, Rosalie, for your role in being so precise and timely with all this, because that's the perfect timing. We are just finishing, as we said. And thank you so much, because you are such a good friend, and you always come and jump into my shoes when we need.
Sentiments is reciprocated.
I think that your entrepreneurial business is something that we didn't talk about, but next time you will sit on the panel talking about you. Thank you so much, everybody on the panel. Thank you.